So I just got back to the U.S. from Cairo yesterday afternoon, and really the strikes are ongoing. The unrest does continue in Egypt right now. Hosni Mubarak is no longer president. While the political change has happened, the economic change hasn't quite yet. And Wael Ghonim, the Google executive turned self-styled revolutionary, one of the people who helped plan those protests that eventually became an uprising in Egypt, he and I sat down on Monday night, late in the evening in Cairo, to talk about what he hopes will become the new Egypt, the Revolution 2.0 generation, as he terms it. What do they want Egypt to be? And what can happen economically to help Egypt become a more equitable place? Listen in.
Definitely, there are two problems. The wages, like a lot of people are not being paid. You know, some people are paid $50, $60 a month, and they're not able to live with that. You know, they have to work like 2-3 jobs. They have to, you know, borrow money. That's a huge problem that currently there is no solution for it. Like at the moment, there is no solution for it. The second problem is unemployment. You know, there's 1 million newborn kids in Egypt every 10 months. Those need jobs, education. This is the real challenge as I see, and this is where, as a young movement now, we realize we've completely shifted now our attention. There's a group working on democracy and enforcing it, which is something I'm very optimistic about. I've met with our top army officials, the ones that that basically are controlling.
What was that like?
It was amazing. Yeah. I personally went out very optimistic. They sent us a lot of positive messages. We were 8 young guys, and 7 guys and 1 girl, and we sat down with them for, it was supposed to be 1 hour. It ended up becoming almost 3 hours. They were listening to us. They were taking notes. You know, a general in the army, like someone who's in control of basically hundreds of thousands of soldiers, which was one of the people sitting down, was taking notes of what we are saying. I want to send a message from what I've seen yesterday to the business community, to the international business community, that Egypt is now like a great place for investments. I come from a technology background, right. And I see Egypt has a great future. We can be the Silicon Valley of the region. We have a lot of talents. Yeah, of course.
Do you think Google will come to Egypt and expand because of this?
I can't talk on behalf of Google right now.
I'm sure you'd like it. But
a lot of other companies, including Google, like we're all looking at the scene and we're impressed. The business community, especially in the high-tech industry, which is one of those industries that can take Egypt to the next step, where we can be another India when it comes to high-tech.
So did you get a sense from the military, though, that they understood what you're talking about, that need for entrepreneurship? Who are they giving business advice to or getting it from?
So it's not clear for me, but what is clear for me, that, as I said, the army coming out and saying, the guy told me, listen, this is the best thing that have ever happened to Egypt since the...
Who said that?
One person from the Supreme Council.
Wow.
Since the pharaohs. So they are not only on our side. They have a dream. They said that this is your dream, and we don't want to shatter your dream. We had about half an hour discussion about the challenges of how to get people back to work and how to create jobs.
Really?
So they are aware of the problems. Actually, they gave me a lot of information I didn't know about the economy and the challenges and how can we address people and tell them go back to work, even if you are paid $70. This is not the time to get $100 right now. This is the time
to stop the kind of strikes that we've seen for the past 2 days.
Yeah,
so they want to make sure those stop.
Yeah, because the country now, if you're patriotic, if you really care about this country, this is not about you anymore. This is about restoring the stability. This is about sending signals to everyone that Egypt is becoming stable.
Do you worry that right now we could be at a turning point, that there's danger if the economic change doesn't happen now that the political change has?
I believe that the moment we start explaining to people, what does it mean? Okay, you want $30 extra for your own, and your salary. But what does that translate to? If we start, giving the money to everyone, it translates to hundreds of billions of Egyptian pounds, which is some money that we don't have right now as a country. I went to the street, and that's serious. I went to the street because of Number one, people are eating trash in Cairo and in other governors. I went to the street because there are lots of unemployed and because there are lots of people who were getting $50 a month. I went to the street because they were trying to kill our dignity by police. There are lots of people who are beyond. No one can hold them accountable for the crimes they are doing. So I'm speaking the language of people. I went to the street, and that's serious. I went to the street because of, number one, people are eating trash in Cairo and in other governors. I went to the street because there are lots of unemployed and because there are lots of people who were getting $50 a month. I went to the street because they were trying to kill our dignity by police. There are lots of people who are beyond. No one can hold them accountable for the crimes they are doing.
Do you think the police should get their jobs back? They were marching today.
Yeah, of course. I want because that stabilizes the country. This is the time where we need to think of stability. And so what I believe in, as the moment we start creating this awareness campaign and we tell everyone, they will listen. They will listen. Currently, they are just protesting out of personal sake. If we give them the macro view, the view of how Egypt is going to be in economical crisis, if you continue to do that, people will listen.
How do you describe to them what Revolution 2.0, that generation, looks like? Where's the opportunity?
The new generation is the generation that can make Egypt a developed market in few years, and I truly believe in that. If we solve the challenges that we have right now, if we restore the trust in our economical environment, we are going to be a developed market in few years. This generation is ready to sacrifice for their country. It's not only about passion. Mm-hmm. We were all ready to die, and we were not saying it. So my message is, if you want to be part of this, if you want to be part of this amazing story of the Egyptian people, please come, please invest, please take baby steps. We're not asking everyone to pull in money to the country, but take baby steps, create jobs for the people, send the trust signal to everyone in the world that you are investing in Egypt.
So do you think though that some of those ministers or business people that were involved with the old regime should be under scrutiny right now? Some of them have had their assets frozen. Should it be forgive and forget, or should they have to pay a price?
The law of order is very critical right now. We need to make sure that anyone who did a mistake should pay for that mistake. Given that he did a mistake, this is not the time to accuse people, good people, of bad things just because they supported the Hosni Mubarak. A lot of the businessmen had to do that in order to, for example, they were forcing businessmen to join the National Democratic Party. Definitely, I think this was a bad position, but I understand and I know that these people did that for their own business interests. I want to tell the international community that this is not about making businessmen scared. This is about having these guys pay the price, because a lot of them were part of this crime.
So Wael Ghonim has gone from being virtually unknown, just being a top marketing executive for the Middle East and North Africa as part of Google, to now being an icon of the revolution in Egypt. And I asked him, does he want to go back home to Dubai? He spent 12 days in an Egyptian jail. His life has completely changed in the past few weeks. Does he want to go home?
I don't have a decision now. This is one thing I'm thinking a lot about. My role, I'm thinking a lot about my role because I already said it before. I don't have any political interests. I don't want to be involved in any government. I did this for the people, and I did not have any personal interests. And I don't want to be, misunderstood that he did all this because he was looking for. I think I think I'm 90% done with my job. And, the rest of the 10%, the question is how many days it would take to finish that, which is something I'm thinking about right now.
Your life has changed tremendously, and
yeah.
You've changed this country tremendously. Can you go back to working behind a desk? Can you go back to being marketing at Google?
I was working behind the desk most of the time in this revolution. I was
okay, so maybe the desk isn't the issue, but can you go back to just, being Wael of Google instead of Wael of the liberation movement, of the revolution?
I think so. I don't, as I said, like I don't have a decision right now. I have not did my thoughts. I have not consulted with the people I trust. What is very, what I see now is crystal clear that my role is 90% done. As the moment yesterday when I'm at the army, I felt like optimistic. I felt like, no, we should not worry. These guys got us. They sat down with us for 3 hours. They have we're talking the same language. We are talking exactly the same language. They were listening to us. That's an achievement. When it comes to army officials sitting down listening to kids, we are kids, bunch of kids. At the end of the day, we were going with jeans, t-shirts, and every one of them were listening to us.
Does Google support you in this?
Well, they did.
Talked to them?
They did already. They tweeted an amazing tweet. They said, Ghonim, we're incredibly proud of you. And as a company, Google did an amazing job. When I disappeared, I had sort of a plan on how to tell people. I had someone, a contingency plan, what happens is when I get arrested. The whole company started to move to try and get me out of this. They played a great role in getting me out of this.
You told somebody at Google that you might be arrested?
No. I had someone, a friend of mine, if I disappear, here's what you need to do. You need to wait for 1 week before announcing who am I, the real identity, because if I don't tell them, I don't want them to know. As soon as I disappeared, Google started to do all this press release. They created a phone number. So definitely they support me, and definitely they support the values.